top. You're all I can think of.
I mean, to the Filipino fans and to just fans in general who have been following my journey, I just want to say thank you so much.
Exposed. Eala's heartbreaking confession after devastating loss. Nadal's secret training revealed, and the insane 2026 plan that will change everything. Welcome back to Champions Tennisistics, your absolute #1 destination for all the explosive, jaw-dropping, and unmissable action from the tennis world. If you've been riding the emotional roller coaster that is the Eala phenomenon, you need to buckle up right now because what we're about to reveal will leave you absolutely stunned. We're diving deep into the shocking aftermath of her heartbreaking defeat in Macau, the tearful confession that had millions of fans around the globe genuinely worried, the behind-the-scenes training sessions with the legendary Rafa Nadal that nobody saw coming, and a master plan for 2026 that involves tennis royalty, strategic partnerships, and what could be the most explosive Australian Open campaign we've seen in years. This is the story that has everyone talking, and we're giving you every single juicy detail right here, right now. Let's set the scene because this story has layers upon layers of drama, emotion, and pure sporting theater. The Macau Masters tennis tournament was supposed to be another victory lap for the Filipino superstar, another chapter in what has been an absolutely mind-blowing year of tennis excellence. Instead, what unfolded on that court left fans around the world with their hearts in their throats and questions racing through their minds. Eala, the 20-year-old sensation who has been absolutely demolishing expectations and rewriting history books left and right, walked onto the court to face 18-year-old Russian prodigy Mira Andreeva, and what happened next shocked everyone. Now, we all know Andreeva is no pushover. This young Russian has been turning heads all year long with her fearless brand of tennis, her court coverage that seems almost superhuman, and a mental game that belies her teenage years. But Eala has become known as a giant killer, someone who thrives under pressure, someone who has taken down the world #1 and emerged victorious when the stakes are highest. So when the match began, fans expected fireworks, expected drama, expected Eala to find that extra gear she's shown us so many times before. Instead, what we witnessed was something far more human, far more vulnerable, and ultimately far more revealing about the brutal demands of professional tennis. The scoreboard told one story, but it was what happened after the final point that truly captured the hearts and minds of everyone watching. In a moment that will be replayed for years to come, Eala, visibly exhausted and emotionally drained, made a statement that sent shockwaves through the tennis community. She looked at her fans, at the cameras, at everyone who had invested so much emotion in her journey, and she said those words that nobody wanted to hear. "Sorry everyone. I gave it my all, but this is as far as I can go." Can you imagine the weight behind those words? This is a young woman who has carried the hopes and dreams of an entire nation on her shoulders, who has become a national hero in the Philippines, who has inspired countless young people to pick up a tennis racket and dream big. And here she was, in Macau, apologizing for being human, for reaching a physical and emotional limit that would break most people long before they got to this point. The exhaustion wasn't just physical, though that was clearly written all over her face and in the way her shoulders slumped. This was the accumulation of months and months of relentless competition, of traveling from tournament to tournament, of carrying expectations that would crush someone twice her age. But here's where the story takes a beautiful turn, a moment that reminds us why tennis, despite all its intensity and competitiveness, can still produce moments of genuine human connection. Mira Andreeva, who had every right to simply celebrate her victory and move on, did something that showed incredible maturity and sportsmanship. She didn't just offer a perfunctory handshake at the net. She crossed over, wrapped Alex in a genuine, heartfelt embrace, and held her there. It was a hug that said, "I understand, I see you, I know how hard this is." Both young women, separated by just 2 years in age, locked in this moment that transcended competition and spoke to the shared struggle of young athletes trying to navigate the brutal world of professional tennis. The image of that embrace spread across social media like wildfire. Fans from Russia and the Philippines, who might normally be fierce rivals in the comment sections, came together to praise both athletes. It was tennis at its absolute best, competition at its most pure, and humanity at its most beautiful. But it also raised serious questions. Was Alex Eala burning out? Had the incredible pressure of her breakthrough year finally caught up with her? Was this the beginning of a decline before her career had even fully taken off? Before we spiral into panic mode, let's pump the brakes and look at the bigger picture here, because context is absolutely everything when we're talking about Alex Eala's 2025 season. What we witnessed in Macau wasn't the end of anything. It was simply a human being reaching a temporary limit after achieving things that most tennis players only dream about. Let me paint you a picture of just how insane Alex Eala's year has been, because when you see it all laid out, that moment of exhaustion in Macau suddenly makes perfect sense. This was the year that Alex Eala announced herself not as a promising prospect, not as a future star, but as a legitimate, bona fide, right here, right now force in women's tennis. Think back to Miami, that sun-drenched paradise where the best players in the world gather to battle it out on some of the most prestigious courts in tennis. Alex Eala wasn't just happy to be there, wasn't just hoping to win a round or two. She went on an absolute tear through that draw, leaving a trail of defeated opponents and shattered expectations in her wake. She systematically dismantled Madison Keys, a former Grand Slam finalist, and one of the most powerful hitters in the game. That alone would have been enough to make headlines, enough to turn heads and make people take notice. But Alex wasn't done. Oh no, she was just getting started. In a match that will be talked about for decades, in a performance that announced her arrival on the biggest stage, Alex Eala faced off against Iga Swiatek, the world number one, the dominant force in women's tennis, the player who had been crushing everyone in her path. And what did Alex do? She beat her. Not just beat her, but outplayed her, outthought her, and showed the kind of mental fortitude that you simply cannot teach. When that final ball went past Iga Swiatek, when Alex fell to her knees in celebration, the tennis world collectively gasped. This wasn't a fluke, wasn't a lucky day when everything went right. This was a legitimate changing of the guard moment, a young lion taking down the queen of the jungle. The momentum from Miami carried Alex to Guadalajara, where she made even more history. She became the first Filipino player ever to win a WTA title, cementing her place in the record books and ensuring that her name would be remembered long after her playing days are over. Breaking into the top 50 players in the world, another milestone that no Filipino had ever achieved before. And then, just this month, adding a gold medal at the Southeast Asian Games to her growing collection of accolades, becoming the first Filipina since 1999 to win the women's singles event at that competition. Do you see the pattern here? History, history, and more history. Every time Alex steps on the court, she's not just playing for herself, she's carrying the weight of an entire nation's tennis dreams. The praise has been pouring in from every corner of the tennis world. Coco Gauff, one of the brightest young stars in the game, has publicly celebrated Alex's achievements. Victoria Mboko, another rising sensation, has spoken glowingly about her fellow young gun. Back home in the Philippines, she's become more than just a tennis player. She's a national icon, a symbol of what's possible when talent meets determination and opportunity. Every sporting legend the country has produced has weighed in with their support and admiration. So when we see that moment of exhaustion in Macau, when we hear those words, "This is as far as I can go," we need to understand them in this context. This isn't a player who's struggling or failing. This is a champion who has given absolutely everything, who has exceeded every expectation, and who simply hit a temporary wall after the most incredible year imaginable. Now, how does a young athlete recover from a season like that? What's the protocol when you've just spent 12 months being in constant fight or flight mode? When you've been the underdog who became the favorite? When you've rewritten history while simultaneously trying to handle the pressure of an entire nation watching your every move? Do you take a long vacation somewhere tropical? Do you disconnect from tennis completely and just sleep for a month? If you're Alex Eala, you do something that speaks volumes about your character, your ambition, and your hunger to keep improving even when you've already achieved so much. Alex went back to school, but not just any school, and this is where the story gets absolutely fascinating. She returned to the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, the prestigious training facility founded and run by one of the greatest tennis players who has ever lived. Now, Alex had already graduated from the academy years ago, had already learned from the coaches there, and moved on to the professional tour. So why go back? Because Rafael Nadal himself was there, and the opportunity to learn directly from the King of Clay, from a 22-time Grand Slam champion, from a player whose mental strength and fighting spirit have become the stuff of legend. That's not an opportunity you pass up no matter how tired you are. In interviews following this training block, Alex couldn't contain her excitement and gratitude. She described sharing the court with Rafa as one of the absolute standout moments of her entire 2025 season. Think about that for a second. In a year where she beat the world #1, where she won her first WTA title, where she made history for her country over and over again, she still ranks practicing with Rafael Nadal as one of the highlights. That tells you everything you need to know about Alex's mindset, about her humility, and about her understanding that there's always more to learn, always room to improve, always another level to reach. This wasn't some casual hit around either, wasn't a publicity stunt where they posed for pictures and called it a day. They were out there grinding, sweating, working on specific aspects of her game. Alex revealed that Rafa gave her detailed feedback on her forehand, one of the most crucial shots in modern tennis. He shared what Alex modestly called small advice, but anyone who knows anything about Rafael Nadal knows that his small advice probably contains more tennis wisdom and tactical insight than most players receive in their entire careers. The forehand tips, the mental approach, the way to construct points, the importance of never giving up on a single ball. These are the secrets that have made Nadal one of the most successful and respected players in tennis history. Imagine being Alex Eala, standing across the net from Rafael Nadal, trading ground strokes with him, watching how he moves, how he thinks, how he approaches every single shot with that famous intensity. It's like a young painter getting to spend the day in the studio with Picasso, or an aspiring filmmaker shadowing Martin Scorsese on set. This is the transfer of knowledge from one generation to the next, from established legend to emerging superstar. Alex described it as a dream come true, and you could hear the genuine emotion in her voice when she talked about it. This wasn't just about tennis technique, though that was obviously crucial. This was about understanding what it takes to sustain excellence at the highest level, how to manage your body and mind through the grueling demands of the tour, how to stay hungry and motivated even after you've already achieved success. The timing of this training block couldn't be more perfect because the 2026 season is looming on the horizon, and it's shaping up to be absolutely massive for Alex Eala. All the pieces are falling into place for what could be her genuine breakthrough year. The season where she goes from being a player who's had great moments to being a consistent threat at every tournament she enters. The physical recovery from the exhaustion of 2025, combined with the technical improvements from working with Nadal, combined with the experience and confidence from all those historic wins, it's all coming together at exactly the right time. The first major battleground of 2026 is the Australian Open, and we have some absolutely explosive news about Alex's plans for Melbourne. For the first time in her professional career, Alex Eala has secured direct entry into the Australian Open main draw for singles. No more grinding through qualifiers. No more hoping and praying for a wild card. No more proving herself in preliminary rounds. She's arrived. Her ranking is high enough. Her achievements speak for themselves. And she's walking into Melbourne Park through the front door as a legitimate contender. That's a huge psychological shift. A statement that she belongs at this level, that she's earned her place among the elite. But here's where it gets even more interesting, because Alex isn't just focusing on singles glory. She's implementing a double threat strategy that could maximize her chances of success and give her twice as many opportunities to make noise at the year's first Grand Slam. The entry list for the Australian Open women's doubles has been released, and there's Alex's name, right there in black and white. And check out who she's partnering with, because this is a masterstroke of strategic planning. She's teaming up with Ingrid Martins, the 29-year-old Brazilian powerhouse who has made her name as a doubles specialist on the WTA Tour. This partnership is absolutely fascinating when you break it down. Martins brings a wealth of experience that Alex simply doesn't have yet in doubles. She's won WTA titles in Bad Homburg and Merida, knows the doubles game inside and out, understands the tactics and positioning that make the difference at the highest level. She's been in pressure situations, has closed out big matches, and knows how to handle the unique demands of doubles tennis, where every point happens faster and every decision needs to be made in split seconds. Pair that seasoned expertise with Alex's baseline power, her ability to generate heavy topspin and angles from both wings, and her lefty serve that can wreak havoc in the doubles format. And you've got a combination that could be absolutely lethal. Let's not forget that Alex isn't exactly a doubles novice herself. She's a former junior Australian Open doubles champion, so she knows these Melbourne courts, knows how they play, knows what it takes to win on this surface. She's reached the second round of the French Open in doubles as a professional, showing that she can compete at the Grand Slam level in this format. But this partnership with Martins feels different somehow, feels more intentional and strategic. It's not just two players thrown together hoping for the best. This looks like a carefully planned alliance designed to make a serious run, to challenge for the title, to prove that Alex can excel in both singles and doubles at the same tournament. The doubles draw is going to be absolutely stacked, as it always is at Grand Slams. But the Eala Martins combination has all the ingredients for success. The veteran savvy combined with young legs and firepower, the South American flair mixed with Filipino determination and resilience. It's a cultural and stylistic blend that could catch a lot of teams off guard. And for Alex personally, having success in doubles could take some pressure off her singles campaign, could give her confidence and momentum, could provide a backup source of prize money and ranking points even if the singles doesn't go as planned. But before we even get to Melbourne, there's another tournament that's generating massive buzz, and Alex Eala is right in the thick of it. The ASB Classic in Auckland is serving as the warm-up event for the Australian swing, and the entry list reads like a Hollywood screenplay that nobody would believe if you pitched it to them. First and foremost, the legendary Venus Williams is making her return to competitive tennis. And get this detail that has everyone talking. It will be her first tournament since getting married earlier this month. Yes, you read that correctly. Venus Williams, 7-time Grand Slam champion, one of the most iconic figures in tennis history, is coming back to the tour as a newlywed bride, accepting a wild card to compete in Auckland. Can you even imagine the storyline if Alex Eala draws Venus Williams in Auckland? The rising star from the Philippines against the timeless American icon? The new generation versus the legend who paved the way? The player who's just beginning to make history facing someone who's been making history for over 2 decades? It would be absolute box office, the kind of match that transcends tennis and becomes a genuine cultural moment. The respect between them would be palpable, but so would the competition, because Venus didn't come back just to wave to the crowd and collect appearance fees. She's a competitor to her core, and you know she'll be bringing everything she has. The Auckland field is loaded with storylines from top to bottom. Alina Svitolina is seeded number 1 and is hungry for redemption after finishing as runner-up at this tournament last year. Emma Navarro, one of the breakout American stars of recent seasons, is seeded 2nd and looking to continue her rise up the rankings. And right there in the mix, projected to be the 4th seed, is Alex Eala. Being the 4th seed at a WTA 250 event is a massive testament to how far she's climbed in the rankings, how much respect she's earned from the tour, and how she's transitioned from scrappy underdog to legitimate favorite. She's not entering Auckland hoping for an upset anymore. She's entering as one of the players expected to go deep into the tournament, one of the names that other competitors will circle on the draw and prepare extra carefully for. That's a completely different type of pressure, a different set of expectations, and it will be fascinating to see how Alex handles this new role. Also in the Auckland mix are other rising stars like Indonesia's Janice Jin and the American youngster Iva Jovic, making this tournament a genuine showcase of the next generation of women's tennis. Speaking of next-gen rivalries, the doubles pairings for the Australian Open are creating some absolutely fascinating storylines. While Alex teams up with Ingrid Martins, her peer and fellow young gun Victoria Mboko, the Canadian sensation who won her maiden title at the Canadian Open, is partnering with Iva Jovic for the Melbourne doubles event. This creates a direct collision course between two of the most exciting young talents in the game. So what can we realistically expect from Alex Eala in this crucial 2026 season? That heartbreaking sorry we heard in Macau, that moment of human vulnerability and exhaustion, that was simply a pause, a deep breath before the plunge into the most important year of her young career. The training sessions with Rafael Nadal were the sharpening of an already dangerous weapon, the fine-tuning of technical details that could make the difference between good and great. The partnership with Ingrid Martens is strategic thinking at its finest, maximizing opportunities and creating multiple pathways to success in Melbourne. Alex Eala is entering 2026 not as a hopeful participant, not as a player just happy to be competing at this level, but as a genuine contender who expects to win matches, expects to challenge the established order, and expects to continue making history for herself and her country. She has tasted victory against the world number one, felt what it's like to beat the best player on the planet on a big stage. She has worn gold medals around her neck, experienced the incredible emotion of representing her country and delivering under that unique pressure. She has won professional titles, broken into the top 50, and shattered every barrier that existed for Filipino tennis players before her. And now, armed with the wisdom and technical advice of Rafael Nadal, recovered from the exhaustion of her breakthrough year, and paired with a savvy doubles partner who can help her navigate the unique challenges of Grand Slam competition, Alex is positioned for what could be a career-defining few months. The exhaustion we saw in Macau was temporary, a natural consequence of pushing her body and mind to absolute limits in pursuit of excellence. But the class, the talent, the fighting spirit, the pure tennis ability, those are permanent characteristics that define who Alex Eala is as a competitor. We are potentially looking at a top 20 breakthrough on the horizon. All the elements are aligned perfectly. The coaching and technical input from one of the all-time greats, the battle-tested experience from a year of competing against and beating the world's best players, the mental toughness that comes from carrying national expectations and thriving under that pressure, and the raw talent that was evident from the moment she first picked up a racket. Whether it's in singles or doubles, whether it's in Auckland or Melbourne, you better believe Alex Eala is going to make serious noise. The Filipino flags will be waving proudly in the stands. Her fans will be screaming their support from halfway around the world, and Champions Tennisitics will be right there bringing you every single dramatic moment. Now we want to hear from you, the passionate tennis community that makes Champions Tennisitics what it is. Do you think Alex Eala can win her first Grand Slam singles match in the main draw this year? Is this the season where she breaks through and makes a deep run at a major? And what's your take on her doubles partnership with Ingrid Martens? Is this the winning combination that can bring home a Grand Slam title? Are you more excited about the potential Venus-Williams matchup in Auckland or the Australian Open campaign? Drop your predictions, your hot takes, and your passionate opinions in the comments section below because we absolutely love reading what you think and debating the big storylines with you. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Alex Eala phenomenon, if we gave you information and insights you couldn't find anywhere else, then show us some love by absolutely smashing that like button. It genuinely helps the channel grow and reach more tennis fans around the world. And if you haven't already joined the Champions Tennisitics family, hit that subscribe button right now and ring that notification bell so you never miss a single moment of the drama, the upsets, the victories, and the heartbreaks that make tennis the most compelling sport on the planet. We have an absolutely massive season ahead of us, packed with storylines that will keep us on the edge of our seats, and this is just the beginning. Thank you so much for watching Champions Tennisitics, and we will see you in the next one, where we continue to bring you the most comprehensive, entertaining, and insightful tennis coverage anywhere on YouTube.